Hi, this is Jennifer. Welcome to High Vibe Astrology. In this video, I'm going to be discussing aspects of Sedna. By aspects, I mean general qualities, the vibrational impulse of Sedna. And I'll be sharing a few excerpts from my book on Sedna. And this all relates to Sedna moving into Gemini on June 15th and what that has to do with us finishing up a cycle this year, just 1 month later in mid-July, the cycle of the nodes being in Taurus and Scorpio, shifting into Aries and Libra. And I will have more to say about that in the next video on the Libra full moon. Since I've already done a video on Pluto and Mars as co-rulers of that South Node in Scorpio, that actually finishes up just 1 month after Sedna changes signs, I feel that it is important to look at Sedna's energy as it relates to that third symbol of Scorpio, representing the eagle. You may wonder why I associate Sedna with the eagle when she is the immortal sea woman from Inuit culture. It really has to do with the connection between the ocean, consciousness, and the cosmos. And it also has to do with the eagle representing being in the world but not of it, being able to soar, being able to glide on the current that Source provides. The eagle allows a higher perspective, being able to take in the panoramic view, the big view. And in recent conversations with a fellow Scorpio friend, shout out to Tara Rose, we were discussing the significance of the eagle being a bird of prey. The vulture and eagle have similarities and they share the same order, but they're not the same species. The order is Accipitriformis. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but what little bit I remember from biology is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. And so the vultures and eagles are in the same order. Basically, what we're looking at with this type of bird is the idea of transmutation, of cleaning up what is dead, decaying, or dying. It's the idea that life continues after death. And Scorpio, more than any other sign, has to deal with the underbelly of life, has to go through their own private hell in order to reach the other side. I mean, we all have Scorpio somewhere. And more to the point, this discussion is about the collective South Node in Scorpio that we as a human family are needing to address and to transcend in order to get to the Taurus North Node of peace and prosperity. And that because when Sedna was discovered, it was the last time that the nodes were in this position. And now we are finishing up this cycle. Just 1 month after Sedna enters Gemini, the nodes are going to be shifting into Aries and Libra. It's important that we understand what cycle we are finishing up and the eclipses that accompany that nodal axis. We're not going to be able to just simply skip over the dark side of life. We're going to have to face it head on and understand the concept, death, where is thy sting? There is life beyond, facing the shadow side, facing this transformation. And I feel that this is what Sedna's message means insofar as her discovery chart, as she dawns upon our consciousness now, and what that has to teach us about letting go of the past so that we can embrace a brand new future. And with that, I would like to begin by sharing an excerpt from The Return of Planet Sedna. This is from the introduction called Entertaining Infinite Possibility. Within the heart of Sedna's message is a bridge connecting legends from our past with possibilities for the future that empower the desire to create positive life stories in the present. Sedna's message encourages us to become more conscious stewards of our language and perception so that we may regenerate life, reinvigorate health, and replenish hope. Rather than insisting on concrete definition, we are asked to entertain infinite possibility. The impact planet Sedna will have on the evolution of astrology, culture, and science will no doubt unfold for years to come. That is, in fact, what makes it one of the most exciting horizons to explore, for we get to engage in the process of rescripting our story and recalibrating our molecular bodies as it unfolds. In planetary and quantum science, discoveries are intensifying at such an alarming rate that we can easily feel overwhelmed. Perhaps there is too much newness to assimilate, compelling us to re-examine our notion of time and space. This is precisely when we need to slow down, return to self, and remember who we are. Yes, we are humans dwelling on planet Earth, but we are also beings of the cosmos, created from the fabric of the infinite with order and harmony that surpasses human understanding. Instead of allowing the past to determine what lies ahead, a past already defined by those with a predisposed agenda, we can choose to explore the world of myth and mystery. In doing so, we may not only learn that our past requires redefining, but also that our present moment contains endless possibilities for a brighter future. Sedna was discovered in 2003, and shortly thereafter, we had movies like The Whale Rider and an increase in water events around the world. I heard about Sedna from my studies in the acutonics curriculum, but I was not yet aware of how that vibrational impulse was speaking to me. And then in 2005, I attended a women's writers conference, and I took a class called Turning the Mundane into Myth. It was in this class that, out of the depths of my own unconscious, arose a story that epitomizes what I now see as the energy she is bringing back to our collective awareness. So I'd like to share the story with you that came out of that class, Turning the Mundane into Myth. We were instructed to pull something out of our purse or backpack and write a story about it. And then the instructor took us into guided meditation and instructed us to get out of the way, to get out of the way and allow the story to reveal itself. And what I pulled out of my purse was my Nalgene bottle. And of course, I was thinking, what the heck am I going to write about a Nalgene bottle? But immediately, the intuitive voice said, The Genie from Nal. So I at least had the title, and then we went into guided meditation. And from that experience, this story unfolded. Once upon a time, there lived an old crone who liked to collect bottles. She had green ones, blue ones, purple ones, and orange ones, every color, shape, and size under the sun. One day, as she made her way through the village of Notimere, spelled Notimehere, she happened upon the most beautiful bottle she'd ever seen. It was made of pure gold and inlaid with diamonds, rubies, and pearls. But its most unusual feature was that it glowed with a halo, as if to beckon light from another realm. Well, being a collector, how could she resist? She scooped it up and immediately heard a voice say, "Are you ready?" Startled and almost dropping it, she meekly asked, "Ready for what?" And out poured a purple mist that shape-shifted into a genie. Well, at that point, the old crone nearly died on the spot. Her heart leapt to her throat while her jaws sank to her knees, but her feet wouldn't let her move at all. "I am the genie from Nal," his voice boomed. After collecting all of her parts, the crone asked, "Where is Nal, and what brought you here?" "Nal is a planet many light years from Earth," he explained. "A planet very advanced in mind technology, but its people are dying from lack of connection to the heart. And since no one connects with their heart anymore, what good is a genie who grants the heart's wishes?" And as she listened, the crone's fear turned to compassion, as the genie continued to explain how lonely he'd been and how useless he'd felt since his people had left him here 3,000 years ago. Finally, he asked her, "Do you believe in happily ever after?" And the crone sighed, "Oh, I am much too old for happily ever after." "But could you believe?" he persisted. She thought for a moment and replied, "Well, having met you, I suppose anything is possible." With that, the genie's countenance lifted as he realized he could finally put his gifts to good use again. Now, having come from an advanced civilization, the genie could see through the lies that had made the crone old. "Dear one," he said to her, "your real father is Kairos, the god of right timing, not Kronos, for whom you were named. Kronos murdered your father and took possession over all the time on earth. He cast a spell on earth's inhabitants so that they would fear him above all other gods and never question his authority. Now is the right time for you, daughter of Kairos, to reverse this spell once and for all." "But how?" she asked. "I have no special powers." "By believing again in right timing," he explained, "and by calling upon the three sisters of Kairos, synchronicity, serendipity, and magic. Call upon them each night before bedtime for 3 consecutive nights, and they will teach you while you dream. What they teach you, you must practice, and you must pass on to the rest of humanity." And so it came to pass, on the 3rd night, with the help of synchronicity, serendipity, and magic, the daughter of Kairos was able to reverse the curse of time. And Earth, once again, believed in happily ever after. Although this story is short, it does say a lot, not only about our preconceived notions about aging and what has to happen as we mature, as we go through our chronological experience of life and that perspective. I did not know when this story unfolded. I truly did not know that the definition of kairos in ancient Greek meant an opportune moment. And I was stunned when I learned that later. It is true that it probably came up for me because at that time, the Acutonics Institute was called the Kairos Institute. So that may be why I used that word, or it came up as the story unfolded. But honestly, I did not know that Kairos meant right timing. So I find it really fascinating how Spirit speaks to us through our subconscious. We don't have to know things logically. We don't have to have learned things through reading or studying or taking a course. There are things that we may know without realizing that we know them yet. And I feel that this is a major lesson that Sedna holds for us. And just as there are many variations on Sedna's myth, Sedna's return can mean many things to many different people. From my perspective, the vibrational impulse of Sedna can best be understood through the discovery chart. With Leo rising, we are asked to look at life through the lens of the heart, through the lens of the inner child and the creative artist. With both planetary rulers of the North and South Node conjunct in the 5th house, this emphasizes the Leo inner child realm, that area of life which pertains to our self-expression, joy, pleasure, magic, wonder, having the wonder of that child. And in the sign of Sagittarius, the rulers of the North and South Node, Venus and Pluto, we are being asked to break out of preconceived notions and broaden our perspectives to include an endless horizon of adventure, rather than remaining in the frog in the well syndrome, only being able to see one small circle in the sky, and on top of that, believing that that sky is falling. When Sedna moves into Gemini, I feel that we are going to experience and be given an amazing opportunity to see with even greater clarity how our words create our reality. And just as this excerpt talked about us being able to engage in the process of rescripting our story, we are really on the precipice in that very magical in-between moment, that opportune time. This is the moment right now when we as collective humanity can break the spell, break the patterns of indoctrination that no longer serve us, that no longer serve who we are becoming. And who we are becoming is in process, but we are remembering that we are cut from the same immortal cloth, the infinite source, which is the example Sedna provides for us in the myth, where she surrendered to being transformed from her mortal self to the immortal self and was able to allow infinite life to arise out of this process, which enables her to provide abundance and sustenance for the very community who was responsible for her death. On the other hand, we can decide to limit ourselves, to cling to the boat, to cling to the past, and remain limited in not only our vision, but then what results from that limited vision, as if we are that frog in the well that looks up and only sees one small circle in the sky. Sedna is asking us to see well beyond that, to embrace our multidimensionality. So I invite you to do that along with me if you feel so called. And I will leave you with the tones of Sedna with Mercury, because Sedna is not only moving into Gemini, but is conjunct Mercury at the time that Sedna ingresses into the sign of Gemini. And I would invite you, if you are troubled by something, to simply hold that question or that thought and allow Spirit to talk to you. Mercury is about communication, and Sedna is receiving messages from the deep unconscious. So when we listen to these two together, we can receive the answers or the guidance that we may be seeking. And if you would like more customized guidance and help, I am always available for personal readings, and all of that information can be found in the window below this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Please let me know how this resonated with you by leaving a comment. Please also like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I look forward to being with you again when I'm back with a Libra full moon. Until next time, this is Jennifer.